we have a full Detroit Pistons draft prospects breakdown, and it's brought to you guys by Pins and Aces, our favorite spot for all your golf apparel needs. Use promo code GRIT. That's promo code GRIT at checkout for 21% off any product at pinsandaces.com. Let's get into it.
Where the Pistons sit right now, 21st pick. It's juicy. We're sitting at 21 instead of 28. So I got a couple guys. You're in your bag. You got so many guys.
Yeah, you can go first. You'll kick us off with your number one guy. We'll break him down. We'll go back and forth, see how he fits with this team, what we like about him, what we don't like. Then I'll hit mine. So we'll cover a total of about 4 guys in this draft that we both really would like to see play for Detroit next year. And then at the end, I just can start throwing some darts at the wall, see if anything sticks. Just some names to keep an eye out for a draft night.
I'm taking a big swing here. This guy, he doesn't have a lot of experience. He's a young kid, and he kind of plays in a weaker conference, but I'm going with Alan Graves, forward/wing, Santa Clara. This is a difficult one because there's a lot of unknowns, but this guy, for me, like at 21, I kind of want to take a swing more than like just going with a safe floor play. I just feel like you have young talent right now, potentially taking a swing on a guy like Alan Graves, 6'9", 225, 7-foot wingspan. So he's just kind of like a freak on paper, 41% from 3, 51% from the field. 75% free throws. I just feel like he's a guy who's going to add a lot of depth for us. And like I said, 5 minutes ago, wing depth is something we absolutely need, and 3-point percentage as well. He kind of just checks all those boxes. I mean, there is risk for sure.
Alan Graves is so polarizing in this draft because, like you said, he is like a statistical darling. Like the potential is immense, but like you said, he didn't really start on his team, on a team that was in a lower conference. He shot the 3 ball pretty well, 2.6 3-point attempts per game at 41%. He rebounds the basketball extremely well, just allows us to push Tobias Harris to the bench. So I really like the upside. The areas in which I'm a little bit concerned with Alan Graves, obviously, it's the lack of overall experience, and he doesn't do such a good job at finishing. His finishing numbers were just around 51% at the rim.
The biggest comp that I've seen by far is Jalen Williams, who also went to Santa Clara. So I think that you do have to take a swing here. All right, enough Alan Graves, man. Who you got now, dude?
I thought for sure this is where you were going to go. I've seen a few mocks that he does fall to us. Not a single one he gets past us. At 21 overall for the Detroit Pistons, Cam Carr, shooting guard, small forward out of Baylor. He does essentially everything that you need him to do. He came to Baylor and just absolutely blossomed. 6'6". He can shoot the ball. He can slash. He can do everything you need him to do. He was one of the guys that just absolutely dominated the combine, and that kind of opened a lot of eyes. Has a really nice, repeatable 3-point form. He can cut without the ball. I think he can pass okay. His explosiveness is able to get in the lane. His ability to stretch the floor and allow Cade to just do what he needs to do and be an option on the wing. I think he's a perfect combination of what you need.
Dude, Cam Carr is so sick. The problem is because his combine was so good, and he obviously had such an amazing season at Baylor, I think there's just no world at all where he falls to us. Incredible, high volume 3-point shooter, 6 threes a game, 38% clip there. He's exactly what we need to. I'm not sure he's going to be there. I pray that he is, though.
The Baylor Bears were an absurd 27.4 points per 100 possessions better when Cam was on the floor. He led the entire country in that. And ISO, he did it. Off the dribble, he did it. Catch and shoot, he did it. He was able to drive and get in the lane. I think he's got to get a little bit stronger, just 184 pounds, which I think is already up a little bit from where he played previously before he got to Baylor. But I mean, just areas that he can further improve. Defensively, I said he's good defensively. He can move his feet, but I think he sometimes gets a little bit lost. He runs a little bit tall, I think, on defense a little bit. He's got to be a little bit more aware of his surroundings when he's on defense and just to be a little more engaged in order to help the helper, kind of that stuff, getting into the lane, passing lane when you're not even ending the play defensively. So I think he can be a little bit better at that. I mean, it sounds like we're both on board with Cam Carr. The only big question is, will he be there?
It's not necessarily the most position of need, but he's fucking awesome, dude. I'm going with Christian Anderson out of Texas Tech, 6'1", 180 pounds. So yeah, not really your prototype point guard by any stretch, but pairing him alongside of Cade, or even like if he's running the second unit, I think he could absolutely get the job done. 18.5 points per game at Texas Tech, 3.5 rebounds, 7.5 assists, 1.5 steals per game, 108 three-pointers made, second most in Texas Tech history, and he set the Texas Tech single-season assist record last year with 244. So, like, this guy, he's such a Swiss Army knife. He's a flamethrower from three, shoots 42% almost from three on just the highest volume, almost eight three-point attempts per game. which I think will translate very nicely to today's NBA. And he can distribute the ball too. I mean, it's just I really like everything that this guy's coming to the table with.
He's 6'1". He has slight of frame in the NBA. That's a worry. You look at guys like Kyrie Irving, undersized by NBA standards. Jalen Brunson, obviously the latest to buck that trend and be an elite point guard in the NBA. Obviously, we run the point with Cade Cunningham, who is a big-bodied point guard. So, like, you technically, it almost does work, and it's not so much of a concern for the Pistons to have your two guard be 6'1", because theoretically Cade gives you that sort of variability. I love Christian Anderson. He is the best three-point shooter in this class. He has the opportunity to be a top 10 three-point shooter in the NBA within the first few years. Like, that's how good of a shooter he is off the catch, off the dribble. He's super good in the pick and roll. The only real downside about him is his size. We said Allen Graves was like 6'8" and only finished at the rim at like 52%. Christian Anderson is 6'1" and he finishes 58.1% at the rim. We got a number of people that were just begging for us to go trade for Kyrie Irving, and obviously Christian Anderson isn't that, but he's pretty darn good. I'm gonna take the same position that you just took with Christian Anderson. Bennett Stirtz.
Yeah.
Technically point guard out of Iowa, senior, an older prospect, 22, maybe 23 when the NBA season starts next year. 6'2", Bennett Stirtz could probably start as your two guard alongside Cade, or he can more aptly, I think, just run the second unit. You trust him to be that, to kind of be everything you need him to be with the second unit. He can shoot from three. He has really deep range. He's proven that he can shoot from NBA range. He's a really good passer. He facilitates the basketball really, really well. He's very, very smart and kind of breaks things down 2-3 moves in advance. Led the country in minutes last year, a 39.4. He's an Iron Man. I mean, he does everything you need him to do. Some of his comps, Colin Gillespie, a guy I brought up a few weeks ago, TJ McCollum.
He was high on my board as well. NBA comps, Peyton Pritchard, I see quite a bit too. 20 points per game, 2.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and a steal and a half per game as well. Like you said, great in the pick and roll. Versatile shooter, elite shooter, off the dribble, in clutch time. It just seems like when the moment is brightest, he is totally fine shooting the ball. When you look at like this Pistons team where every team is just going to try to double Cade, it would be helpful to have another guy that when it's late in the game and you need a big time shot, he can be that guy. I definitely would not hate this pick at 21.
Having another guy, you mentioned like late clock situations when they are just like collapsing on Cade and he can't even get the ball. Having somebody that you trust just as much as Cade to facilitate. Stirtz has like insane handles. Like it's almost like the ball's on a string at times with him when he's weaving in and out. Very similar to Cade. Having somebody that like even has better ball handling than Cade in a late game situation that like they can crash on Cade all they want. Bennett can take it and he can facilitate. He can hit the three. I'm almost like talking myself into him even more. So a few other guys that again, you're at the bar, you're talking about the Detroit Pistons, listening in the distance, where they go. That could technically work with Detroit. I think we kind of hit on a lot of the main guys, and some of these guys that we didn't hit on, they have kind of one or two glaring holes in which I personally, that's why I don't think they'll fit with Detroit. First one being Dalen Swain, forward out of Texas. He spent a year or two at Xavier, transferred to Texas this past year. Kind of similar to Cam Carr, had a breakout season at his new school. Dalen is a little bit interesting just because he does a lot of things really good, except for his three-point play. His three-point shot just isn't quite there. Every year it got better and better, but he's only had like a half a season of decent to good three-point shooting. 6'6". He's a great off-ball disruptor, great slashing, really good defensively. He kind of does everything around him other than shooting extremely well. Some of his comps are guys like Jarrett Culver, who is a guy famously really good slasher, 6'6", great defense, just didn't really shoot the ball well. So, he's a guy that I think if Detroit went with him, I would get it. I would say that depending on how the rest of the board fell, I would be a little bit concerned just with his really truly lack of shooting. You have other guys like Malik Thomas, 6'4". He's just an absolute flamethrower. He's a bucket getter, straight up in his purest form, a bucket getter anywhere on the court. He's never seen a shot he didn't like. Reminds me a lot of like Cam Thomas. The issue with him is that he has a really poor shooting diet. Like I said, he has never met a shot he didn't like. Some bad decisions on his shots and forcing some things out when it's not falling. So you kind of have to work with the maturity level there. But if you need a bucket, he's the guy you're going to want to get. Isaiah Evans, very similar to the guy Chaz Lanier we took last year, really stepped up this past year in his three-point shooting, one of the best three-point shooters in the class, is working on putting the ball on the deck and attacking closeouts and finishing, but definitely still is not a plus for him. He's just more so a flamethrower three-point shooter, good size at 6'6", I think, so you need to hope that he kind of continues his development everything other than three-point shooting. The other point guard that I think is thrown up there, and a lot of people are originally was a sneaky draft pick, but I think he's kind of come to the light and no longer sneaky. I mentioned him earlier, Ibuka Okori, the point guard out of Stanford. With him, the reason I was okay with us picking Christian Anderson and Bennett Stirtz and not Ibuka is a little bit too similar to Marcus Sasser. He's smaller than Christian Anderson and Bennett Stirtz at just like 6'1". He is a pretty good three-point shooter, not elite like Christian Anderson or even Bennett Stirtz, but a good three-point shooter. He's really, really, really good at getting in the lane and getting at the basket and attacking the basket, which is something we obviously need. But my issue with him is that his finishing was decent. Like his maneuvering of the ball in the air wasn't great, and his finishing at the rim was decent in college, but it's a lot different going to the NBA. You're going up against guys that are a lot longer, a lot taller. It's going to be a lot more difficult to get those finishes. That's why Kyrie has been so good in the NBA, because he's an elite finisher around the rim. Ibuka's not quite that. A lot of times he kind of relied on just getting fouled at the rim.
Again, just want to say, Trajan, great job moving away from Ivy, the pick swap, everything. Going from 28 to 21, like I can't stress enough how big of a difference that is.